Hello and welcome to the Post to Post podcast. It is November 12th, 2017. This is podcast number 22, and we have a lot of little topics to talk about. So I guess I won't give a full preview here, but I'll just start this with two things. I'm not feeling very well today. I'm low on energy. I'm not sure what's wrong, but my allergies are acting up. So if you hear me sniffling or coughing or anything, I do apologize in advance. The second thing, a big thanks to Luke, who sent this Hartford Whalers hat.
Oh, you found out who it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
He mentioned it before, and I just completely forgot about it in the video. It was stupid of me, but yeah, he sent it, and his favorite team is San Jose, so I just want to give a big personal thanks to Luke, and yeah, love it.
That's awesome. It's a gorgeous piece of headwear.
Yeah, I didn't mention it in the video, but I noticed that there's obviously green in it afterwards, so I'll have to wear it on podcasts and not videos maybe, or only videos with green backgrounds, like the Fan Friday or something. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about, but there's not really a lot of drama to talk about, and like there hasn't been any crazy thing going on in the NHL or any big crazy checks or suspensions or fights or it's just been the same old kind of for the past week. Two big games in Sweden. We'll talk about that a little bit. So I'm gonna go through my list first, and then maybe we can tackle what you have. If that's okay, just stay with the trend.
Do whatever.
So I want to talk about the hottest teams in the last 10 games. If you were to guess, who would you say some of those teams would be? Or do you have that on your list?
I have that on my list, so I can tell you exactly.
Well, I'm going to do the top five. It's Tampa Bay with 8-1-1.
Yeah.
Rangers with 8-2-0.
Correct.
St. Louis 7-2-1. San Jose 7-3-0, and Montreal 7-3-0.
Right on.
So
my list agrees with yours.
that's good.
And I think with the Rangers, to add to that, they are 8-2-0 with 6 wins in a row.
6 wins in a row since the threat of firing of Alain Vigneault.
It's all it took.
Yeah, just a threat. Sometimes it works. Do you have the point totals? Because that's what I'm going to talk about next.
I do.
Okay. So top 5 in points, Stamkos with 30, Kucherov with 29, and then it drops off pretty significantly. Blake Wheeler with 23, Schwartz with 22, and Kessel with 22.
I had the team point totals, not the player point totals. So
no, I don't play it. What? No, I don't want to talk about team point totals. I mean, we can later.
No, I don't need to talk about it. I just, you asked me and I thought I was answering yes.
Oh, let's move on to goals. Kucherov with 16, Ovechkin with 13, Tavares with 13, Stone with 12, and Keller with 11. Big rookie Keller up there in the top 5 in goals. That's awesome to see.
And considering where he's playing, we've talked about that several times now.
Yeah. So we talked about points. We talked about goals. Where's Sidney Crosby? Do you know where he is in the standings?
I don't know where he is in the standings, but I know he's been absent the last couple of weeks.
I believe he's 79th in the league in points right now.
But he's the greatest hockey player in the world.
Well, I know. Here's the problem. He's played 19 games. He has 5 goals, 8 assists for 13 points. He's a minus 14 so far this year. A minus 14. Minus 14. Where do you think that stands in the league as far as worst plus minus?
Probably somewhere just above Erik Karlsson.
Vern, realistically though, where do you think?
50th. I don't know. I really don't know.
He has the worst.
The worst in the league.
The worst plus minus in the league.
Oh my God.
Sidney Crosby. He's actually tied with Chris Letang. Isn't that unbelievable?
It is. There's something wrong with that stat.
It's I can't even believe that I'm saying the sentence. He has the worst plus minus. I don't understand. He's the best player in the world. Or supposed to be the best player in the world. In my eyes, he is the best player in the world.
I could see a fluke of that kind of stat flowing up after 1 or 2 games, because things are just so crazy at the very beginning of the season.
Yeah.
But we say 19 games in?
19 games in.
Yeah, something wrong.
Do you know where he's seated in penalty minutes?
Probably. I wouldn't think very high because he's not that kind of guy, but I bet you're about to tell me it's pretty high.
He's 9th.
Oh,
he's 9th.
In the whole league?
In the whole league of most penalty minutes.
For the most penalty
32 penalty minutes. So he's surrounded by people who fight all the time. Like you got the Haleys and the Dorsets and all those guys up there in the top 10, and then you just have Crosby in ninth place.
What kind of penalties are they? Are they like stick penalties, or are they just whining penalties?
Well, there's a few whining penalties, but I think they're most just minor infractions. Yeah.
Wow.
And he's shooting at 8.3%, which is god awful. So he's having a rough time right now. So what do you think's wrong with him?
Well, I didn't know there was anything wrong with him until about 2 minutes ago. So it'll take me a while to figure that out. I have no idea. He's physically, he can't be that much changed from the man who won the Stanley Cup in June. So unless he's had some sort of injury, but I don't know about that.
Yeah, you can't really say that he's not well conditioned because, or he's not. He's tired because he's played too much hockey in the past 2 years, which he has. However, he's probably one of the most conditioned, disciplined, physically players in the league.
You could say that last year at this time about him, maybe, but not this year because there's no World Cup. Prior to the season.
Yep, that's true.
Sure, he did play until the very last game of the playoffs, as all people in the Stanley Cup Finals do.
Yeah.
But I don't think had a particularly, he's got 13 points in 19 games. For most players, that's not bad. That's pretty darn good.
Sidney Crosby is more than a point per game player.
That's right.
In his career.
So for him, it's a big step down.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
And Chris Letang is negative or a minus 14 as well.
And being a defenseman, you get really good D-men that have bad plus-minus
especially
numbers.
Offensive defensemen like Chris Letang. So I'm not too surprised there. But do you know who has a worse shooting percentage than Max Pacioretty? Or that's Sidney Crosby. Max Pacioretty, 8.2%. I am not in the zone today.
Now, does that count last night's game?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he's Pacioretty's in the top 10 hottest players in the past 10 games.
He's on fire.
Yeah.
And he was cold as ice the first 10 games.
He was invisible. Yeah. That's what I don't like about Max Pacioretty. That's why he's not one of my favorite players, and he'll never be one of my favorite players, and he's not even in the top 100 of my favorite players because he's so inconsistent.
Wow.
Boom.
That's a statement.
It is a statement, a bold statement.
Is it okay if I drop your mic?
No, it's too loud.
No? Okay.
Yeah, no. The next on my list, Paul Kariya and Timo Solani. Inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. It's pretty awesome to hear, as well as Mark Recchi, Daniel Goyette, Dave Vanderchuk. 5 big names there. Mark Recchi, I think he's in the top 5 in, is it points total in the history of the NHL? He's up there.
I wish I knew.
He's way up there.
He was a horse.
Yeah.
All through his career.
So that's really great for Solani. Probably would you say the best Finn of all time?
I think the book is yet to be finalized on that, and maybe won't be for a long time, but certainly of the first wave of European players, the first 20 years of European players playing in the NHL, I don't think there's any question.
I think so, too. I would say that he is definitely, I'm going to make that bold statement. I think that he is the best Finn of all time. Who do you think is the second best?
Well, I have my favorites, and you do as well.
Who played with Gretzky?
Oh, in Edmonton?
Yeah. Who was his line mate for forever there? His name is escaping right now. He's a Finn.
Yeah.
Man, people listening are like just shouting at their speakers.
They're driving. They're driving down I-293 right now, going, "You idiots!
Yeah,
you idiots!" Yeah, it's oh man,
it's right there.
Why did you do that?
It's right there. I mean, I could look it up. I've got a computer right here, and this is a podcast, so.
This is gonna burn when we get the name. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt badly.
Yari Curry.
Oh God, I'm sorry, Mr. Curry.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry to the people of Finland.
I would probably say he was probably the best, or the second best Finn of all time. Sakko Koivu would be up there, probably top 5. I'd have to look at the points and stuff. I'm not sure, but yeah. Who do you think is the best Swede of all time? Because we've got Alfredsson's up there. We've got Forsberg.
Forsberg, I think, would be my pick.
I'd probably choose Forsberg as well.
But there are so many. If you even go back a little farther, unfortunately playing with bad teams for a while, but Börje Salming, the first Swede, really. There are so many that go back through the last 3 decades. But I think Forsberg, all told, would be, because 2 cups?
At least.
Yeah.
At least, I think, yeah.
Maybe more.
I guess I didn't write these down. I'm totally not in the zone today. I have more stats to go over.
Sure, go ahead.
I just want to talk about goalies. So I looked at the best save percentage in the league, top 5, and I used at least 4 games. You had to play at least 4 games because we're only some teams have only played 14 games or whatever. So I said, okay, 4 games is for a backup is that's a pretty good sample size. So at least 4 games.
All right.
The best save percentage in the league is Charlie Lindgren, 0.964. Second is Dansk, 0.946. And third is Ryan Miller,
Oh,
0.943 with
really?
Anaheim. Yeah, Carter Hutton has 0.943, and Nilsson has 0.943.
Now they are all backups, with except Miller, I would think, right?
No, Miller's the backup.
He's a backup.
Yeah.
So do any of them start some games? Well, they obviously start some because they have these. On your
Lindgren's
list.
an AHL goalie.
Yeah.
Danskin's an AHL goalie. Carter Hutton's a backup. Ryan Miller's a backup, experienced backup. And Nilsson is a backup, kind of.
I saw a bit of analysis on Lindgren because I am what I am. And they were talking about him being one of the only 3 goalies currently playing in the NHL who catches with his right hand.
Yeah, and who's the other one? Was it Hellebuck? Mason? No. We are terrible people.
This is not going well.
We are absolutely terrible people.
But the theory was that because he caught with the right glove instead of the left glove, his paddle side, his glove side are all opposite for shooters, and they're still trying to figure him out.
They're hesitating. They're getting the puck. They're looking up and like, oh crap, and then they have to change their mind last second.
I was going to go glove side, but ooh, that's stick side. Oh man.
If we move on to goals against average, it's pretty similar actually. Lindgren 1.24, Carter Hutton 1.71, Dansk 1.78. Corey Crawford, who's played 14 games so far, so great sample size, 1.87.
Wow.
And then Ryan Miller 1.87. So it's great to see Ryan Miller move into a backup role. He was a starter his entire career. He played internationally with USA. I think he got a silver medal.
He did 2010.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's one of the best U.S. goalies in history, if not maybe the best. That's a discussion for another time. But he's got 1.87, so he's doing great things. Keeping with the stats trend, if we look at the teams as a whole, who do you think has the best power play in the league? Or do you have that written down too?
I don't, and I'm trying to guess. Think of a good guess.
Who made the biggest moves in the off season? What team? What team brought in some pretty big powerhouses?
Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas. They have 31.2% on the power play,
that's
and
impressive.
the league average is around 18.
Wow.
So that's really really great.
Wow.
Penalty kill, LA 91.5%. That's really good. Goals per game, Tampa Bay with 4. Are we surprised?
Yeah, that would have been my guess.
Yeah. Goals against per game.
Ooh, I think it's.
This one's going to surprise you, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I know you don't watch a lot of West. There's your hint. It's a West team.
Okay, it's a West team. Well, it's definitely not Calgary. I have no idea.
San Jose.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
2.33. I started to watch them a little bit more recently, and they're my second favorite team. I watch them as much as I can, but after I did the trap video, I try to figure out what system they use the most. I still don't know what system they use the most. They're kind of one of those hybrid teams that kind of move around.
Maybe that's the problem.
They block a ton of shots.
Oh yeah.
A ton of shots. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I think they're on a 5-game winning streak or something crazy like that. They're doing really well. So I love to see that.
Nice.
Milestones. This is a new one that we haven't talked about. 2 big milestones coming up. Patrick Marleau's got 1,095 points, so he's 5 away from 1,100 points. And Cam Ward has 297 wins. He's 3 away from 300 wins.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, two very important milestones for 2 great guys there.
And in Cam Ward's case, I think he's played his entire career with Carolina.
He has, and he's just transitioned to. I guess you could call him a backup because Scott Darling is, I believe, getting most of the starts.
I think so, yeah.
And I mean, Cam Ward's okay with that. He was vocally okay with that. So that's great. That's the situation you want to have when your backup goalie is okay with being a backup goalie who used to be your starter for the past 15 years, 10 years, or whatever. Jason Sabetza, we heard about this last night on the broadcast. His name is in the rumor mill, and Dallas is in a tough position with him because he's making 7.5 per year.
And he still has another year left.
Yeah. He's 34. But the thing is, with his contract, he's got a no-movement clause within the season. So they can't trade him during this regular season without his consent. So they'd either have to wait till the season ends and then trade him or deal with him. I think they just have to deal with him because no one's going to take on that contract.
No.
So it sucks. I like Jason Spezza.
Yeah.
But he's in a tough spot right now. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes and for how much in 2019, I guess. Speaking of overplayed players, Kovalchuk.
Oh yeah.
So he's eligible to come back to the NHL July 1st of next year.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you. Actually, I have two questions for you.
Okay.
Number one, as a Canadiens fan, would you want to see Kovalchuk sign with the Canadiens? He scored 20 goals in 30 games so far in the KHL. Do you think that Montreal should or would take a gamble on him? And depending on how you answer this, it'll answer my next question.
Well, I probably would have said no deal on the Radulov experiment, but that turned out to be fantastic. But Radulov is a different player than Kovalchuk.
Right.
And I think the best part about Radulov wasn't so much the numbers, it was the guts and the spirit.
The enthusiasm.
Yeah. I don't think Kovalchuk has any of that.
Oh.
I don't think he has. No. Well, and that's not a bad thing. Some players are just more reserved. I don't think Shea Weber has it either, but I like him. I would say it would depend on the price. I think he's making 5.5 this year in the KHL.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I think that's what it is. It's not bad money. And that's about the top. I think he's actually the highest paid player in the KHL.
Wow.
Most of them, there's very few actually that are in seven figures. He is one of them, obviously, but there's only about 15 or 20 that are in seven figures. Most of them are making, 750, 800,000.
What's the tax implications in Russia?
Who knows?
For salaries.
How many guys you have to pay off so you won't get your car blown up? I don't know. I don't know how it works over there. So if it was a reasonable price, like $3 million or something, I'd definitely go for it. But I don't think I'd pay him 5 or more.
Yeah, I guess the second question is, do you think he should be allowed back in the NHL? Based on your first answer, I'm going to assume your answer is yes.
Yeah, I would say if he serves his time, the calendar flips over enough times that he's eligible again, fine. That's what the rules are. He didn't make the rules. He's just taking advantage of them if he does. So, yeah, I might not like the rule, but if it's there,
I don't think he should be allowed back in the NHL without a penalty. I think he should be penalized. He shouldn't be allowed to make any more than $1 million per year for the first 2 years. That's my stipulation. That's my penalty.
Really?
It's a penalty to him financially, but it's a plus for any team that signs him because you're getting Kovalchuk for $1 million. So
yeah, I'm trying to figure out the economics of that.
Yeah, I don't know how else to punish him.
Well, maybe here's what happens. Maybe the team has to pay. He only gets $1 million, but the team has to pay New Jersey $6 other million or $7 million or whatever. New Jersey gets the financial benefit.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
All right.
Yeah, that could work out good.
Write that up. We'll sign it later.
NHL, call me. We'll get her done. Kyle Turris scored his first goal as a Predator last night. He also got an assist.
He did.
So he had a great game.
He did.
And that was a wild game. Pittsburgh scored first. Nashville came back, went up 3-1. Pittsburgh came back. It was just back and forth. Went to overtime, which was shootout. Crazy game.
Crazy game.
And I guess you have that written down there for us to talk about later.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Great to see Kyle Turris. Kyle Turris. Man, I am not in the zone whatsoever today. Kyle Turris. Oh, goodness gracious. I thought that I would trigger you a little bit, and just with a name, Paul Romanek.
Okay. Is it my turn now?
I have written down.
Oh, good.
Paul Romanek Rant.
Paul Romanek Rant.
I was hoping you could go on a rant.
Well, okay. What I will do is talk a little bit about my Twitter last night.
Right.
And no one, a few people liked it, but no one replied to it or took me to task. We were watching, and it's a little joke that Neil and I have when we're watching the Canadiens play, and Paul Romanek is the announcer on Sportsnet. We don't drink really, so it's not a drinking game, but it's almost not a competition, but a guessing game as to when he's going to say the thing.
The thing that's not his thing.
The thing that's not his thing. Paul Romanek and me share one thing in common. We're both big fans of Danny Gallivan, who was Montreal's premier announcer on television in the 60s and 70s. Rest his soul. I love Danny Gallivan because he had a lot of interesting ways of saying things. Mm-hmm. One of them was to describe a broken play, when a player passes a puck towards another player and it doesn't make it to the other player. And Danny Gallivan would say there was a failure to negotiate contact. Now, if any other announcer said it, it would sound odd.
Silly, yeah.
Silly. But Danny Gallivan could say things that other announcers could not and make it sound cerebral and thoughtful.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will give Romanek credit. He did.
What did he say? He said something that we actually liked last night.
Yeah, shambolic.
Shambolic, yeah.
He said that, the play along the boards there was shambolic. I love that.
Yeah.
And Paul, if you're listening, and you probably aren't and never will, shambolic, I declare that to be your word.
I agree.
You can use it every game that you broadcast. But please stop saying failure to negotiate contact, because that's not your phrase. It's Danny Gallivan's phrase. You are not Danny Gallivan. You will never be Danny Gallivan. And just by saying a string of words that he used to string together doesn't make you even fit to stand in the shadow of Danny Gallivan's headstone.
Whoa.
Whoa.
He says it once a game.
Once a game.
And it's only once.
Yep.
And sometimes it's in the first period, sometimes it's in the third period, but he always says it, and he always says it once.
Last night it was in the first.
Yeah.
I think about 4 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And it's almost sitting there, you know. And
he was just waiting for it.
yeah. So if you ever are in Las Vegas and you want to do a sports bet of some kind, and you know, because you can bet on anything, right? Ask a bookie to give you odds on whether on whether Paul Romanek is going to say fail to negotiate contact and take that bet, because you're going to win
on
big
a TSN
money.
broadcast of a Canadiens game.
You're going to win money, guaranteed. I like a lot of the things that Romanek does. I like when he calls a game. I like his calls.
He's good.
He is
it's
very
just
good.
some of the things he says are a bit annoying.
Oh yeah.
Last night he was having a conversation while the play was going on about. It doesn't even matter what it was about. I don't know the name of the other guy.
I think it was Jason York, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah, and I like both of those. I like Jason York.
Yeah.
But they were having a conversation because they kind of had a disagreement that wasn't really a disagreement, and they were laughing about it and joking back and forth for probably a minute and a half while play was going on.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys.
No.
Like, I love that you guys have personality. You guys are funny. But call the game, because that's your job, right?
Yeah.
So
you're a play-by-play announcer, not a shoot-the-poop announcer. You know, so just talk about the game, please.
Yeah.
And when there's a whistle and a stoppage in play, throw in your crazy Gord Miller stat,
completely.
about how many rainy Wednesdays there've been, since Jaromir Jagr started playing hockey. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about the changing of pronunciations of names?
Oh, this is crazy. Montreal's defenseman, number 22, who I've always called Carl Alzner.
Yeah, that's how I say it too. Carl Alzner.
Alzner. And for the first time he mentioned his name last night, Romanek said, Alzner.
Yeah, it was right at the start of the game or warm-ups or something.
Within the first minute. And I said to you, oh, look, he's back to Alzner. And then literally a minute and a half later, he says, Alzner.
Yeah.
And then said Alzner for the rest of the game. Make up your mind.
Yeah, because, I don't claim to be even close to being an expert on how to pronunciate names. People who watch this channel know that, or listen to this channel, I guess, if they only listen to podcasts. I am very bad at pronouncing names, but I'm allowed to be because I'm an amateur, I'm a fan, and it's not my job. He's a play-by-play announcer. His job is to say names on TV. If he's going to say a name, then he's got to stick with it.
Yeah.
If he's going to say a name, he's got to make sure he says it right.
Yeah.
So...
And maybe Alzner is right.
And that's the thing. If Alzner's right...
Great. Just don't say Alzner in the first minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Good grief. Pick something,
I was watching the highlights from the Pittsburgh game, and I don't know what broadcast it was. It was Fox. No, it wasn't Fox. It was... Who does the ones with the annoying bars at the top that are really colorful?
It might be Root. Or Roots.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, whoever was doing that name was pronouncing Sherry. How we used to pronounce it, Sherry.
Right.
Now he wants it pronounced Sherry. Well, he was still pronouncing it Sherry.
Ooh.
So slap on the wrist for that guy. I don't know who he was, but yeah.
You've been told. Well, thanks for giving me that opening.
No problem.
I like venting about broadcasting a lot because it's a thing I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And it's just been driving me nuts.
Because you want to go on a few more rants, I think.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Like, the other regular announcer on regional games, which is John Bartlett.
Yeah.
gains the line. You know, every time someone crosses the blue line, he gains the line. He gained it? Does he take it home with him at the end of the day? Hey, honey, look, I got 6 blue lines here that I picked up tonight. I gained them all.
And half boards. He's bad for that one. Half boards.
Half boards and half wall.
Half wall.
The half wall.
The wall's never been higher.
Yeah.
It's never been called the wall because it's not a wall.
It's not a wall.
It's not called walling when you get 2 minutes for walling.
Look at the NHL rule book. 2 minutes for walling.
It's the boards.
The boards.
2 minutes for boarding. Come on, get with it. It's not called half wall. It's not called half boards. Just stop the madness.
Even if they're not made of wood anymore, they're still boards.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes.
You can say the boards. Even if it's fiberglass or some sort of composite.
Yeah.
It's the boards.
It is in no way a wall.
It's not a wall. Never was a wall.
No.
And if it's not a wall, you can't have half a wall either. It's not half a wall.
And they've all decided to change how they say periods. No one says the second period. No one says that. It's now period number 2.
Period number 2.
Period number 1.
Yeah. I have 3 kids, let's say. I don't, but let's say, you know, I have child number 1, my oldest. I have child number 2. No, you don't say it that way. I have my first kid, my second kid, my third kid.
Exactly.
And the other thing that drives me absolutely bonkers is when they say the National Hockey League. They string it all out. Craig Button's bad for that, and a whole bunch of these broadcasts. National Hockey League, National Hockey League. Now they just, we could just say the NHL. Everyone knows what that means.
Exactly.
It's more efficient. But no, you got to say the National Hockey League. You got to chew it. You got to chew it and eat it. It's about 15 calories each time you say it. Why? It's because they hear each other doing it. This is my biggest problem with broadcasters is they don't think for themselves.
That's a perfect example of the word we probably hate the most, active stick.
Ooh.
That's a Pierre Maguire.
Yeah.
One active stick.
And others have picked it up.
Oh, everyone uses it now.
Yeah, active stick. And I've seen active feet. They even talked about active feet. It's hockey. It's hockey, bozo. Guess what? There's not a hockey player in the National Hockey League who doesn't have active feet. Because if you just stand there like I would, I'm probably not getting drafted.
Yeah, probably not. That was a good rant. I'm gonna trigger you at least once a podcast for a good laugh.
I love it.
Some big news. It's not official, but Jason has a week on vacation coming up. Jason of the channel, of Post to Post.
Oh.
I'm gonna go visit him in Fredericton, I believe is the plan right now. And this coming Saturday, we are going to try very hard to road trip to Ottawa to see the Ottawa Senators play the Arizona Coyotes. So we'll get to see Duchesne, get to see Carlson, get to see Keller. So I'm pretty excited. It's going to be an afternoon game,
right?
Which means we're going to have to leave Friday afternoon or Friday night and drive all night, see the game, stay somewhere Saturday night, and then come back Sunday.
Wow.
But
well, that sounds like fun.
Tickets are cheap. It's not going to cost a lot in gas. So, why not? We got the time. Might as well go do it. It'd make a good video. I'm gonna vlog the entire thing. I'm gonna try and do an intro, maybe, at the beginning of the game once we get in their seats and stuff. Yeah, it's good. Should be interesting. I'm excited, but I'm not at the same time because I don't know if it's gonna happen for sure.
Yeah, so. You don't want to get too jumpy and then have a big letdown.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on.
Upcoming Post to Post podcast. It's in the works. We mentioned it at the last 2 contest videos. We mentioned that we were going to do something else. It's coming very soon, probably next week. So we're going to give away a whole bag of stuff.
Ooh.
Sponsored by Lids. Lids is going to sponsor this giveaway. So I can't tell you exactly what the contest is going to be, although I've kind of already told you if you've watched the other videos. I can't tell you what the prizes are going to be, and you won't know even when we make the video. I'm just going to show you the bag full of stuff, and there's a lot of stuff in there. So it's going to be interesting, and there's more to the prize than just stuff. It's got a purpose. So a little hint to the future. So.
And I think your intention at one point was that some of the stuff in the bag would be customized to the preferences of the winner.
That's the way it was for the previous contest.
Okay.
This one will not be customized for the winner.
Just generic stuff.
It's going to be generic stuff, and that's for a reason because it's the prize has a purpose. So.
Oh, okay. But it's good stuff because it's coming from Lids. That's going to be good stuff.
Oh yeah, there's good stuff, and there's going to be stuff from my personal collection. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's going to be a whole big giant bag of goodies.
Don't give away any of my stuff.
I'll try. None of your stuff is in there. Don't worry.
All my stuff's going to be your stuff anyway when I kick off. But
yeah, and sticking with the post-to-post trend, figured I'd share some numbers with you. Kind of talked about analytics in that 20,000 video that we did the other day. 366 videos we've done, which means I've accomplished my goal. The goal was 365 videos in 365 days. It's been, I don't know, how many days left in the year?
Like probably 40.
Yeah, 45 or something like that, or whatever.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah.
So
yeah, 45.
366 videos, 2.9 million views, so almost at 3 million there. As of when I wrote this down, 20,919 subscribers, almost at 21,000.
919?
Yeah, 919. So maybe by the end of the day, it would actually be 2,100 or 21,000. I mean,
that is remarkable, and
it's been a good week.
We've done this a few times. Every time there's a milestone, I ask you to recount to me what your initial goal was when you started the channel for the first year.
Yep, January 1. My goal was 365 videos in 365 days, and I think best case scenario is 500 subscribers.
500 subscribers.
I thought that was a little ambitious, to be honest. I wasn't even sure if I was going to hit that. I was realistically thinking between 200 and 300. Really hoping for 500, and we're sitting at 21,000. So that's crazy.
That's nuts.
So if it's 366 videos, not including the other work that we've done on More Post to Post. If you're not aware of More Post to Post, it's our second channel. We talk other sports on there. There's vlogs, there's movie reviews, there's all kinds of stuff on there. We've done 17 videos on More Post to Post, and that has 210,000 views total on that channel.
No kidding.
Yep. And the sub count on that channel, 2855. So we're almost at 3,000 on that channel. So not only did I get 500 subscribers on one channel, I almost have 3,000 on another channel, which is great. And I know a lot of those subscribers come from two people subscribing to, or one person subscribing to two channels there. But if you are interested in other sports or the second channel, we have a video coming. It's either releasing today or tomorrow. I haven't decided yet. We talked about the NFL stadiums. We ranked them, the NFL stadiums. So it should get quite a bit of views and interest because there's a lot of NFL fans out there. I made the apology in the video from the mistakes I made from the first NFL video on the channel. That's really one of the reasons why I made that video, is just to apologize. And then our third channel, which not many people know about.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure there's a few people watching or listening right now thinking, they have a third channel?
A third channel?
What the heck?
What's going on?
It's called Canadians Try Stuff. It's not hockey or sport related whatsoever. It's food related. There's 2 videos on the channel, 445 views, 87 subscribers so far. There's 1, 2, 3 videos already filmed for it. The first 2 videos is blindfolded pudding taste test and blindfolded pop or soda taste test. If you're looking for a laugh, to sit down and it's not filtered, so there's swearing. I'm not in any of the first 2 videos or any of the next 3 videos. It's just my friends. But it's funny. It's a good laugh. But yeah, if you're interested, Canadians Try Stuff. It's in the description, I think. If not, search it on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
That's all I got until I go over this week on the channel, and next week I'll say that till the end.
Well, quickly back to your stats discussion about team standings. You covered off all the really good ones, but I thought I would add a couple. The team with the most points in the league so far is Tampa Bay with 28.
Right.
They also have the most regulation and overtime wins with 12. So they are leading that category. Tampa Bay is also leading in home record. They're 7-1-1 at home. And they also have the best road record at 6-1-1. Very close to them is St. Louis, that has a 6-2-1 road record, but with one more loss, wouldn't be quite as good as Tampa.
St. Louis was expected to do good this year. But they're kind of flying under the radar, as weird as that sounds to say, leading the West. But they're just not getting a lot of attention, just because I don't really know why they're not getting a lot of attention.
I think it's the market they're in. I just don't think St. Louis is a big market, and every team with a bigger media market, or every city rather, with a bigger media market.
I mean, Tampa Bay doesn't have a big media market. They're all over the place.
I don't think they're getting a lot of attention though. Outside in the league, they are, but I don't think they're. No one's talking about them, I don't think. I'm not.
Okay, you're not? I hear all kinds of people talking about Tampa. I don't hear anyone talking about St. Louis. I think they're just a sleeper.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds to say.
Well, they were a bit of a sleeper last night.
Let's not talk about it.
They got hosed by the Islanders 5-2.
I was not happy about that.
And that segues us into last night's scores. And
yeah.
so on.
Hit us with it.
So we'll start with the Islanders Blues game 5-2. Braden Shen, Scotty Upshaw scored for St. Louis. Jake Allen took the loss, though, let in 5. Islanders got lots of blended and broad talent scoring there. Cizikas, Eberle, Hosang, Lee, and Tavares. Hosang got his first goal of the season.
Well, they called him back up on an emergency basis, I believe. Finally, yeah. I don't know why you sent him down to begin with. He was struggling a little bit, but man, watching him at the end of last year, that kid was on fire. Yeah. So I'm glad to see him back up in the NHL.
Yeah. Also, other games, the Nashville Predators beat Pittsburgh 5-4. We talked about that a little bit earlier, so I'll get it out of the way. Losing goalie for Pittsburgh was Tristan Jarry.
Did you see the highlight where he exited the net to get the puck?
No.
He, between the blue line and the net is where he met the opposing player, and he fell down or whatever, and the next Pittsburgh Penguin, or the next Nashville player came in, and he was sliding out to the blue line at this point. He stuck out his leg and he tripped him. He was literally out at the blue line, and he got a penalty for tripping, I think. But, it was funny.
That's his second overtime loss. You know? So he's actually come out with a point.
Doing better than Niemi.
Yeah, that's right.
Who has those 2 games. An average of 6.47 goals against. I believe.
There you go. Yeah. Too bad they wouldn't ask that question on Jeopardy if you're on there.
Yeah.
Pekka Rinne got the win in that game. Another quick game. It would happen very late. I know very little about all the goings-on, but Winnipeg beat Arizona 4-1. I think it was late. I didn't get down to get all the details out of that game, but good for Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And it's typical for Arizona. So
unfortunately.
Yeah. Chicago beat Carolina 4-3 in overtime. Brandon Saad got the overtime goal. Forsberg was the winning goalie. Scott Darling for Carolina had the loss. That must have hurt a little extra hard for him because that's his former team he was playing against.
Yeah.
But he did get a point, so it did go into overtime.
He's a great goalie. I think he's very underrated. One of my favorites.
Skinner scored again. McGinn got 2. DeBrincat got 2. The name doesn't ring a bell with me. Yeah.
He's not bad.
I hope I said his name right.
I believe he did.
Okay. Minnesota beat Philly 1-0. Elliott took the loss. Zucker got the goal, his 9th of the season, and Devin Dubnyk got the shutout.
Is that 2 in a row?
I don't know.
Because they just shut up Montreal. So.
Yeah, have they not played in the meantime? They played on that was Thursday night.
Well, they wouldn't have played Friday and then Saturday again. So
that's true. Yeah,
2 shutouts
that
in a
would
row.
Be woo. And they lost. No, Toronto beat them the night before that, right? The 4-2 or something, I think.
3-2 or
Alrighty. The Devils beat the Panthers 2-1. Palmieri and Severson got the goals. Schneider got the win. Bukestad got the goal for Florida, and Reimer took the loss there. Columbus beat Detroit 2-0 in a shootout. Athanasiou got the Detroit goal, and Panarin got the Columbus goal before I don't know who scored in the shootout, but it ended in a 1-1 tie, obviously. But Athanasiou's been...
well, they took forever to get him back at the lineup. They had cap issues and stuff.
He's getting caught up.
Yeah.
He's doing good. Now, we mentioned earlier in the podcast, or you did, that we would be talking a little bit about the Sweden games.
Right, yes.
And we know now that Ottawa defeated Colorado in both games. In the first game, it was overtime on the Friday afternoon game, our time. In the Saturday afternoon game, they beat them again, this time in regulation, 4-3. Hoffman got 2 goals. Aduya got a goal, which was a very pretty one from the point.
It was, yeah.
And, of course, being in front of his own crowd, that was awesome for him. So I'm really happy for him. Anderson got the win with only 8 saves because, of course, they pulled Condon. So
yeah, and Condon only had 10 shots, I think, at the time. 3 goals and 10 shots.
Yeah.
And 2 of the goals wasn't his fault. Colorado just... And they just didn't have a lot of offense that game. The game was close, thanks to Jonathan Bernier.
Yeah. We watched the better part of both of those games, and that was a good experiment. I was anticipating crazy fans after some of the heat that came into this channel from Sweden.
All the bragging from hundreds of, well, not hundreds, I'd say probably about 50 fans commented, throwing in our face that Swedish fans are better than American fans or North American fans, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looked pretty sedate in Stockholm.
It was pretty quiet.
Very quiet. And it looked like an NHL game, maybe even quieter.
Quieter than an NHL game.
Because I guess a lot of people there from Sweden aren't invested in one or the other of those two teams. They're not going crazy because neither of the team is the team they cheer for. So they're not going to make banners and occupy standing room and make total dings of themselves. You know, they're just going to sit there and watch the game, which I wonder how that felt, to actually watch the game and not be the game.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Speaking of Sweden,
yeah,
someone made the comment on our SHL video because we talked about the Sports Bible or whatever that news site is in Sweden, who called us Americans, and they said, "There's no reason to be offended. That's just what we call everyone from North America is Americans." And I said, "I understand that. However, if Europe wasn't called Europe and it was called, I don't know, the Union of Britain, and we called you Brits, how would you feel? Because there's a country called, you know, Britain or whatever, England, whatever.
Yeah.
So how would you feel, basically?"
I get their point, I guess, because...
Oh, I understand.
Yeah. Like, if we called them Europeans...
Which is fine.
It would be accurate.
Yeah.
And if they call us... And this, I guess this is the issue. There are... I think there's only one country in all of the Americas, that's North America and South America, that has the word America in its name. The United States of America. So they've... I'm not going to say stolen, but they have commanded, they have taken over the name America for themselves. Not consciously. It's not like they sat around in 1776 and said, we'd like to be the only Americans.
Yeah.
But we are all, I guess, because we live in either North or South America, you could look at it as us being Americans.
Totally. And I understand that. We live in, Canada is in North America. Technically, we're Americans, I guess. But if Europe was called the Union of Britain, and Sweden was in the Union of Britain, and we called them Brits, they'd be like, we're not Brits. We're Swedes.
Yeah, they would be completely opposed to whatever we call them unless we called them Swedes. And you go back far enough, you know, in the past, you know, we're going back 100, 200, 300 years when borders were different.
Yeah.
Norway and Sweden might have been one country under one kingdom at one time, and maybe Finland, part of Finland was part of Russia, and then part of the Scandinavia. And there's a lot of bad feelings that go on long after the people themselves are dead and buried. Look at the Czechs and the Slovaks as a perfect example. It was a country that was never created by those people. It was imposed on them by other empires that decided, oh, let's put these people all together.
Yeah.
And in the reverse of that, you've got the Kurds. In Western Asia, there are some Kurds who live in Turkey. There are some Kurds who live in Iraq, in Iran, in Syria, in other former Soviet countries. But there's no Kurdistan. They've been broken up amongst all these other countries. A lot of them want a country of their own. They can't get one.
Yeah.
Because none of the other countries want to give up land, to these Kurds.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. So, no one's really always happy. If the worst thing that happens to me is that they call me an American, I can probably live with that.
I wasn't offended. It was just...
No, I know.
Yeah. You remember when you made the remark that it's not Czech Republic anymore, it's Czechia?
Yeah.
Some people from Czech Republic actually commented and said, "Yeah, we don't call it that. Well, we still say the Czech Republic."
I read one comment that says, "Yeah, we all hate that. No one uses it since they made the change."
Yeah.
They did make the change. Someone did. Obviously, there are people who aren't happy with that, but it's official.
How? I'm trying to think of another country that you could remove a name from, like, I don't know. What's a two-word name of a country that you could remove?
Well, you've got the Dominican Republic.
Maybe just call it the Dominican.
Yeah.
Or Dominican.
But you can't call it Dominica because there's already a country called Dominica. It's a little island in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Or Dominica, they call it, some of them. But
yeah,
things get testy.
Anyways, we're totally off topic.
Yeah.
How do we get on?
I have no idea.
The game in Sweden.
The game in Sweden. Yeah. And we're totally sober, folks.
Yeah.
This just happens all the time. Alrighty, a few more games to talk about from last night. Only 3 more. The Montreal Canadiens beat Buffalo 2-1 in overtime. Pacioretty got what I think is a beauty, a gift, and a gift that he turned into a beauty. And also Andrew Shaw redirected a shot to get a goal of his own. I thought Montreal was badly outplayed the first couple of periods before they decided to show up.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing Buffalo, the second to last or second to worst team in the entire league, and they barely managed to beat them in overtime. That doesn't say much.
No, not at all.
If you're a Montreal fan. Ugh.
They weren't playing well at all. And you have to think about Shea Weber and Jonathan Drouin almost didn't play the game.
Yeah.
Would Montreal have won that game without Jonathan Drouin and Shea Weber? Well, probably not, because Jonathan Drouin basically scored the first goal. You got an assist.
Yeah.
The first goal.
Yeah, that's the one that Shaw tipped. That's right. Drouin was... It's funny, Montreal as a team isn't playing well. Individual players, some of them are playing very well, and Drouin is one of them. He is a joy to watch.
He is becoming my favorite Montreal Canadian. Actually, at this point, he is my favorite person, my favorite player on the Montreal Canadiens. Mm-hmm. Like, by far. Shea Weber will be second, but it's not even a close second.
I'm a big fan of Charlie Lindgren.
Oh, yeah, I think anyone is now. Charlie boy. Charlie boy.
He's amazing. He's flipping and flopping, and there's leather flying everywhere, and he seems to get he gives up huge rebounds, scary-looking rebounds, but he's all over the place. It's like a Tim Thomas meets Hasek meets whatever, just stuff going everywhere, and the puck's not going in the net. Maybe because he's catching with his right hand. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the goalie coach is on the bench. Oh, my God.
But
it'll settle down. He'll come out of that, and
he's finding ways. It's 6-1 now, I think his record is.
6-1. Yeah,
6-1. That's amazing. He did have a loss, 3-0 to Minnesota the other night, but he bounced back. He's shown already that he's a bounce back kind of goalie, which is great. The Toronto Maple Leafs are back on their horse, even without Austin Matthews. They beat Boston 4-1.
They're actually playing pretty well.
That's 5 in a row, I think, if I'm not mistaken. McElhinney got the win for them because I think they were playing their second game in 2 nights. So I think Boston...
Did you just say they're on a 5-game winning streak?
I thought I did. I thought I did.
Maybe they are. I don't know.
I can tell you. Toronto 1-4. Sorry, so it's a 4-game winning streak. Okay.
Still pretty good.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No problem. So with no Matthews, they did get goals from Marleau, another one in his long collection. Mitch Marner, Morgan Riley, and JVR got goals. Rask took the loss. And finally, the poor Edmonton Oilers still getting stepped on. The Rangers in their 6th or 7th win in a row with Rick behind Rick Nash's 2 goals beat... Nick Rash.
Nick Rash.
I've got a Nick Rash. It's getting very itchy. Rick Nash. I'm sorry about that. They beat Edmonton 4-2. Edmonton got goals from McDavid and Puljujarvi. Cam Talbot took the loss.
And they just called up Puljujarvi too.
Yeah.
I believe they called him back up. So it's good to see him on some goals there.
Yeah.
Hopefully he didn't get any Rick Nash. What do you say?
Nick Rash.
Nick Rashes.
Another quick topic that I'd like to raise quickly. Well, maybe let's back up just a bit. Jágr got his first goal.
Oh, good.
Recently. Yeah, it's a game between Calgary and Detroit. Jágr got a goal and an assist.
That's awesome. I will fully admit I have not watched a Calgary game in probably the past 10 games. Past 10 days. Mm-hmm. So I apologize. I need to watch a Calgary game soon.
Now, I have some interesting stats that I've dug up on this assist that he got. And it's not a stat about the assist, but it's about
this specific assist.
This specific assist.
Okay.
He assisted on Mark Jankowski's goal. Mark Jankowski was born in September of 1994.
So Jágr would have already won 2 Stanley Cups?
2 Stanley Cups. He was 23 years old. Counting playoffs and regular season, he already had 146 goals. He had 225 assists for a total of 371 points. He amassed all of that, which would be a career for most NHL players before the guy who received his pass was even born. I think that is nuts.
That's unbelievable.
Nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And Jankowski went 2012 first round for Calgary. He was down quite a ways in the round because Calgary drafted late that season. But Yeah, 2 Stanley Cups already, and the guy wasn't even born.
We are approaching the point where the people coming into the league will be born not in the 90s anymore.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It is weird. Well, the next draft will be 2018.
Yep.
And guess what?
Yeah.
You can't be, some people will still be born in the 90s, but some will be born in the new millennium.
I don't, my brain doesn't work with that. I can't comprehend that. I can't believe that much time has passed.
Yeah. Well, and you're a lot younger than me.
Yeah. You were talking, what were we talking about the other day where you said, we were talking about music, because you used to listen to music and the classic music was from the 50s. And now, what was the difference between...
Yeah.
It was 15 years.
It was 15 years. I was listening to music in the mid-'70s that were from the 1950s.
Yeah.
And thought that was such a long time ago. And now it's 2017. And we were talking about a TV show in particular called Call to Glory.
Right.
Call to Glory was a show about the Air Force and families. I think it was on ABC back around 1984, 85, 83, around there. And it was set in the 1950s out in California at an Air Force base that eventually became Edwards Air Force Base. And watching it in 1983, it seemed like such a long time ago. Well, from 83 to now is even longer.
Yeah.
And that's taking me some time to deal with that.
Yeah.
Another quick story that is just breaking. The KHL is now contemplating not allowing its players to go to the Olympics.
Can you say that a story is just breaking when you have it on paper?
It's just breaking.
But you have it on paper.
Yeah. Well, and
So
it's not even typed. It's handwritten.
Oh, it's handwritten.
It's handwritten. Well, it's just breaking since the last podcast.
Right.
Okay, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I did kind of hear about this. So that's going to be huge. It's huge implications for the hockey community and international hockey community in general.
And I think people might, if they don't already know, they might want to know what's prompting this. Well, what's happening is the International Olympic Committee is going to decide in December whether to allow Russia in the Olympics in the first place, because there was so much widespread doping in 2014 that the IOC is unbelievably faced with the terrible decision of whether to ban an entire country.
If they do that, Russia. Oh,
yeah.
Please don't do that.
And the KHL is in the position that they're saying, well, maybe we'll ban you first.
Oh.
Hey.
Yeah.
So if the KHL decides to not allow its players in to the Olympics, similar to what the NHL has already decided.
Right.
Canada in particular, I don't know how this affects the other countries, but it affects Canada greatly because of the 25 players that Canada currently has on Team Canada, the prospective Olympic team, as it might be, at the Karjala Cup in Finland.
So, okay, let's just...
Okay, let me back.
Just hold on for a second. We are approaching a Winter Olympics
in February
with no NHL players.
Right.
And potentially no Russia.
Right.
That is an absolutely massive blow to the Olympic community.
It is.
That's huge. There's going to be hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people definitely millions of people not watching the Winter Olympics because of maybe both of those reasons.
And what the KHL is saying is that if they decide to not let their players play in the Olympics, they're going to rejig their schedule to play during the Olympics.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. That's awesome.
And as I was moving down this track here about how it affects Canada.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. Of the 25 players presently identified as logical candidates to become Team Canada in the Olympics, 16 of them are in the KHL.
Really?
Really.
Oh, my.
Viewers will see this. Listeners won't, but I have a sheet here, and I have yellow highlighter across each of the names that's currently playing in the KHL.
And this is the projected lineup for Team Canada?
Yeah. I guess it would be. These are the players that have been playing in the Karjala Cup in Finland, the last game of which I think is underway right now. Canada is 1-1. I think they beat Switzerland and lost to Finland or Sweden, I think. No, they play Finland today, but they're fairly competitive, but they're certainly not dominating.
Okay.
And this could be the team. Ben Scrivens is the goalie, the lead goalie.
Okay.
And there are others, and I can share this list with you. I'm not going to read them all, but...
Can you read all the highlighted names? The ones that may not play?
That are in the KHL?
Yeah.
Certainly. Wojciech Wolski, Brandon Kozin, Eric Odell, Lyndon Vey, Gilbert Brulé, Matt Ellison, Quinton Howden, Ted Purcell, Rob Klinkenhammer, best hockey name ever, Carl Stollery, Che Genoway, Simon Desprez, Jesse Blacker, Jeff Kinraid, Matt Robinson, and Ben Scrivens. Scrivens himself is playing right now in the KHL for Salvat Ulayev.
Interesting.
In Ufa.
I wonder if Iginla will play on the Team Canada if he doesn't get back in the NHL after U.S. Thanksgiving.
He may. Another thing that may happen here, when the Olympics happen in February, the KHL maybe only has 1 month left. Any of these Canadians that have, let's say, a 1-year contract, they're going to be faced with the decision to walk away from the balance of the contract in exchange for the opportunity to represent your country in the Olympics. I think that's a deal that a lot of them would take.
That's a good point. Never thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't think of it either. Eric Duhacek raised that in The Athletic in an article that he wrote. The other players will have to come from teams in Switzerland, Sweden, and Germany.
Right.
And like he has said, and it's something that didn't dawn on me, Canadians on short contracts, might be still open to being on the team. So that's something that may happen yet, and we don't know.
Got anything else?
One more quick tidbit. I was on the bus earlier this week on my way to work.
Right, yeah.
And I was sitting next to this lady who I knew from work for the last 10 years. I didn't know much about her, family life. I've met her and her husband both, obviously. I've been to their home, and very nice folks. So we're sitting on the bus, and she said, "I'm so excited. Tomorrow I'm going to England for 10 days." And I said, "Really? What are you going to do in England in November?" She said, "I'm going to watch hockey." I said, "Hockey?"
Nobody goes to England to watch hockey.
No one goes to England to watch hockey. She says, "Well, my nephew plays in England, and we're going to watch him play. And he's got 3 games when we're there, including 2 home games, and I'm going to watch him." And I said, "Who's your nephew?" And she said, "It's Guillaume Doucette." And Guillaume Doucette plays for Milton Keynes in the EIHL. He's third in the team in scoring, it turns out. He's from Moncton. And my bus seat mate, Louise, she is his aunt. I think must be her brother's son, I'm thinking is how that works. So yesterday, the Milton Keynes Lightning played the Coventry Blaze, beat them 5-4 in overtime, and Guillaume Doucette scored the second goal in that game.
That's awesome.
And they're playing again today in Manchester against the Manchester Storm. That game will be underway in a couple of hours. And then they play again in a couple of days back home. And my friend and my former work colleague Louise is going to be in the stands watching her nephew play.
That's cool.
And it's funny because a year ago, if she told me that her nephew played in the UK for played hockey, I'd be like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah. Okay.
But I've heard of the team. I'm able to watch a little bit of their play.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to when we're done taping this podcast, I'm going to go up and snoop around on the internet, see if I can find it.
Well, I have got all kinds of links for you because someone sent them to me. So
nice.
I'll share those with you.
Very good.
And I wish I knew your name if you're listening, so I could thank you. But unfortunately, I get like 30 to 40 private messages and emails a day, so the names all kind of run together at this point. We are going to do, I mentioned this in the mail time video that has not released yet. We are going to do a mail time Christmas video. So there's a mail time video coming out probably tomorrow, which will be on Monday. And it'll be our last mail time until Christmas. We are saving all the packages and all the letters from now until Christmas. And we're going to do a big, giant unboxing, letter reading thing on Christmas. I have no idea how much we're going to have. So if you'd like to send a postcard or a letter, we're going to do a big Christmas show. So if you're listening and you want to send something in, say hello. This is a great opportunity. And if you want something back, just make sure you let us know in the letter, and we'll send you a piece of mail back. We'd love to do that.
Cool.
Just wanted to add that. And now I want to go over to the week in review on the channel, as I've started to do. So Justin's weekly NHL recap video, which was the first video after the last podcast, got 2,000 views. Then we made the Duchesne traded to Ottawa video, and that got 4,500 views, which makes sense. It's a pretty juicy topic. And I think that was one of our best videos, to be honest. I really had fun with that video. Then I had one called Why I Don't Cheer for Pittsburgh or Chicago. That got 3,400 views. That's kind of a juicy topic as well, I guess.
Did you get any hate?
Surprisingly, not much, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, people were really good about it, so I was surprised. Of all the videos that I've released, thinking that, oh man, this one's gonna get the most hate. That's the one that's the one I thought. Then the SHL jerseys ranked 1 to 14. They got 3,000 views. Comparing current NHL standings to last year, 4,500. That was kind of an interesting topic as well, so I'm glad that got some decent views. We looked at the SM Liga jerseys. That got 2,100. So that's jerseys in Finland. Then I had a video called "What is the Trap?" That got 2,000 views. Then we had the Fan Friday, which was who's the best rookie. That got 1,500 views, and that'll be the last Fan Friday until after Christmas. I announced that in the video. And then our big one yesterday, the 20K subscriber thank you and Patreon thank yous. I got 1,400 views.
Oh wow, that's good.
And coming up this week, I said this last week, I'm going to do an NHL 18 video. I didn't do it this past week, so I'm going to try very hard to get an NHL video out this week. Mail time number 8, which I've already mentioned. And we're going to talk about the games in Sweden and potential games and countries next year, maybe.
Okay.
So if hypothetically, if the NHL decides to go visit another country for two regular season NHL games, what country will that be, and what teams are going to play against each other? I have some theories, so we'll film that probably later this week, whatever.
Nice.
And another big video I'm really excited to make is what could the NHL look like in 2040? I said 2030 before when I originally had the idea. I feel like that's a little bit too soon, so I changed it to 2040. So I'm going to be prepping that this week, and we'll film that probably on Thursday and have it released for Friday.
I'll be 81 years old.
You will be 81 years old if you make it that far. Olympic jerseys ranked. I was going to wait until I do this during the actual Olympics, but I might as well just do it now, get it over with. And then we're going to finally look at the Swedish second league logos.
Oh, good.
It's been a while since we did a logo video, so I thought we'd maybe do it. And that's called the Hockey Allsvenskan.
Allsvenskan, yeah.
What the heck was that?
I don't know. A light?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
That scared the crap out of me.
That's going to be good.
It's not on camera, but...
It's not on camera?
I have a...
Oh,
no,
yeah, no.
I have a rack behind me with all my shirts and stuff. It's a really wobbly rack. It's not very structurally sound, and it just fell over. Watching you jump was amazing. I think the reaction that you had scared me more than the actual sound back there.
Because, folks, through that curtain is where the furnace is. And when you hear a loud noise from the direction of the furnace...
When the furnace is off.
When the furnace is turned off, your first reaction is to evacuate your bowel.
And there's a black curtain here behind me. And so even just seeing any kind of motion behind me when there should be nothing going on back there. I'm excited to watch this back now and see your reaction. I need to change your underwear when you go back upstairs.
Yeah.
I guess that wraps it up. That was the last thing I had to say. Hockey Allsvenskan.
Yeah.
Skin. Oh, so bad. Anyway, we're gonna talk about those logos. That's all I have for today.
Well, you did pretty good for a guy who's not feeling 100%.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I don't know. Rest. Drink lots of water. But allergies have been acting up recently. Sneeze.
It's not really allergy season, right? The fall, everything's pretty well dead out there.
I don't know. I've been sneezing probably 20 to 30 times a day for the past 2 weeks.
Huh.
It's been weird. Actually, probably 3 weeks. Any hoozles. I guess that wraps it up. It's been about 1 hour and 4 minutes ish. So, but around the time that we like to close this off at. So, thank you very much for joining me. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening, watching. If you're listening on iTunes or Google Play Music, we'd love for you to leave us a review. If you're watching on YouTube and you're not subscribed, we'd love for you to subscribe. If you like the video, hit the like button. I meant to mention this probably 5 podcasts ago. Completely forgot, and I showed this to you yesterday. His name is Dane Bjornstrom. Oh, I forget his last name. His first name Dane, and he made a video and he sent it to me. It's on his channel. It's he does a cover of
The hockey song.
The hockey song, you know, good old hockey game, whatever.
It's great.
It's amazing. He does it a cappella. So
Yeah.
he records himself doing different parts. He's got different jerseys on. He sent it to me. He said, "Hey, just thought you'd like this. I just wanted you to see it."
It's incredible.
And I forgot to share it in the podcast way back then. I forgot to mention it in any video. I can't believe I just mentioned it now because I almost forgot it again, which wouldn't be uncommon. But I'm going to play a little clip from it to end this podcast. I won't play the whole thing because I want you guys to go to his channel. I'll link it down in the description on YouTube. I want you guys to go to his channel, give him some love over there, tell him he did a good job because he did a good job.
He did
it's
a great
amazing.
job.
It's really, really good. So that'll be the outro to this podcast.
And when you hear it, it'll be an earworm for at least 18 hours. It'll be in your head.
Yeah,
over
totally,
and over again.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you much for watching and listening. We really appreciate you guys coming back every week and listening and watching the podcast. We have a lot of fun doing it. We have a lot of fun sitting down and just kind of relaxing and going off on crazy topics. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next week. Enjoy the song.
Hello out there, we're on the air. It's hockey night tonight. Tension grows, the whistle blows, and the puck goes down the ice. The goalie jumps and the players bump and the fans all go insane. Someone roars, Bobby scores at the good old hockey game. Oh, the good old hockey game is the best game you can name. And the best game you can name is the good old hockey game. Second period, where players dash with skates aflash.